Hi everyone, and today I welcome you to this very interesting case study. You can go to this website and you will notice that there is always um, survey which is on in this website, Flavors of Cocoa, where dark chocolate bars are rated. Okay, and you can see the data on a real time basis. Now, this particular organization donated some of its data to the open for people to do the analysis. And today I'm going to be analyzing just that type of data which has been given by this particular website for analytics people. So about the data set, this is a data set of chocolate bars. We've already seen the source, and people come into the website and they rate these bars between 1 and 5, with 1 being the least appreciated and 5 being the best. Okay. Of course, there are some qualitative and quantitative parameters, and if you go to the website and look it up, you will find some more details over there. So let's look at the data. The data is out here in front of you, and you can see that there is information around the company, the specific bean, the reference value, which is nothing but like a customer ID, a review date, cocoa percentage, company location, rating, bean type, and bean origin. Okay. So these are the static fields in the data. Now, the aim of this case study is to take people who may not have ever done analytics through a process so that we can come to some thoughts or some insights about this particular data. Now, before we go forward, let's understand the data just a bit, right? So you can see you have multiple makers. You can also see you have different bean origin or bar name. The same reference can also be there. So the same customer can rate multiple times the same fact or the same bar. He or she can also rate multiple bars. And then you have the review date and the cocoa present and etc. These are self-explanatory. So what do we seek to do? Uh, when we define the business problem, and yes, I will always follow the Dekova and I process: define, collect, organize, visualize, analyze, insights. Now, when we define the problem statement, we want to understand the key takeaways about the chocolate bars and chocolate makers that we can get from the data. There is no other data set that has been given to us as of now. So the question over here becomes, do we need to do any type of sampling? Do we need a primary key? Now, if we were building a model where we needed a test and a trained data set, we would have done a sampling. So that is a no. But do we need a primary key? Let's go and check. When we go to the data, we realize that we may need a primary key because there seem to be multiple combinations of the bar and the bean as well as the companies. So let's create a primary key, which is nothing but a key which is unique, okay, to every row, for us to know that, what is the combination of bar or bean origin and the company, and what are the ratings against that. Okay, so I'm inserted a column. You saw I just did a right click and did an insert, and I will call this the primary key. I'm creating a primary key. Okay, now how do I create this? I will just, for ease of understanding, maybe what we want to do is to just create small amount of color here. How do I want to create the key? I want to use a formula called concatenate, which is the name, as you know, in English, concatenate means bringing together. So I go to formulas and insert function. So that's the great part with Excel. You don't need to remember any formulas. As long as you go to insert a function, you will be able to get what you want. Now, what do I want to do? I want to do a combination of the bar name and the a space. Okay, I want a space, and I want the company name. Okay, so here you get it. Okay, so I've at the bottom of any cell, if you double click, it just sort of ripples through and takes the formula for all the cells in that column. Okay, for better control over the data and that nothing should go wrong in the formula, I will copy paste special so that there is nothing which can go wrong in the formula over here. Okay, so we've created a primary key. Now let's go to organizing the data. We'd like to understand missing values, outliers, dummy values, and derived variables. What are missing values? I think every one of us knows if any cell is left blank in any column, that's called a missing value. So let's look at it. How do I do it? First thing I'll do is I'm going to make a copy of this so that my original data doesn't get disturbed. And then I'd like to add in a couple of rows on top. Now, first, let me look at missing values. What is a missing value? Let's first see how many uh, rows of data does every column have or should have. So let's look at it here. I go into, I would want to count out, right? The number of rows over here. Of course, I can look at from the bottom, but I would also like to do it in the formula. So I'll just do a count formula here. I'll go to formulas, I'll say insert function, and I'm going to write out count. Okay, so I'm going to do this, and then it says, where do I want to count? So I want to actually count in this range. So I'll choose the entire range of A and say, okay. So let's see. Okay. Now you will notice it's actually giving me a zero value because count as a formula only counts out numbers. So what do I need to do? I just need to add count A. Okay. So A, when I do count A, it will give me the characters. Okay. And I'll just copy paste it across. Okay. So there I can see there are no missing values. So I can just go here and say there's no missing values, right? Okay. Now let's look at something called the outliers. What are outliers? They are extreme values, right? Something which is very different. So would I want to look at it in this reference, which is just a default number given to anybody who comes onto the site? No. The date of review? No. Cocoa present, again, that is a fact of whatever it is. So what is the, and rating? Would I want to check for outliers in the rating? No, not really, because the ratings are between 1 and 5, right? So we don't need to check for outliers. Do we want to check in the character fields? So we can do some sort of an understanding if we want, but I don't think there would be any outliers over here. So if we were to just filter it out, okay, and look at it, there are a number of values over here. So what is the good way to understand an outlier is to summarize the data and look at it in a pivot format. Now we know that there are no missing values over here. We can go back to our original data and create the pivot on this data. What is a pivot? It is a summary table. It's a summary table which will help us understand a bit more about our data. So we go to insert and pivot table from this table or range, and we say okay. Now my favorite way of going through this, so I go here, and my favorite type is to go and look at a classic pivot table layout because it's easy to drag and drop. Okay, and we were trying to look at company location, right, and see exactly how much are the counts. Now, if I go here, I can actually sort it out from the largest to the smallest. And USA has the maximum number of people and reviews in this survey. And there are some of these countries which have very few reviews. Okay. So, what is a good thing we could do is we can just club everyone who has maybe less than 50 reviews and put them as others so that we will have countries under USA, France, Canada, UK, Italy, Ecuador, and others. Does that sound like a good thing to do? So if it does sound like a good thing to do, I'll just take this out. These are the people we want to put into the others category, right? And I will put it into a different sheet because I'm going to show you something which is called a VLOOKUP now. Okay, so here now what we are doing is we are creating a new column called a company location 2. And you'll say, where is all this coming from? So here you can see there is these two things called dummy variable and derived variables. So this is actually a derived variable. From the main variable, we are creating another variable which has certain advantages. Okay, so I'll say company location and company location number 2. Okay. And what I'll do is I will, just for those countries, we are going to put in uh, a value called others. Okay. So again, this, if you remember, I was putting it. I'll actually take all of them. Put it here. And from here, I've put, what is the thing? Others. So what I wanted to do is to do others. And here I wanted to actually pick up what it is originally. Right? So this is what I wanted to do. And I go back here. And over here, we will look at something called a VLOOKUP function. What is a VLOOKUP function? As the word itself says, it looks up certain values and changes it in the data set of our choice. So let's look at a VLOOKUP function. The best way, of course, is look at a formula, insert function. Again, as long as we know what we are looking at, we'll be able to get it easily. VLOOKUP. Okay. What are we looking at? We are looking at the value of company location. Where are we looking at it? We are looking at it in the sheet 4. Okay. What is the column index number in sheet 4? We want it from, it is the second column. And do we want it to be an exact match or an approximate match? We want an exact match, so we'll just say false. Okay, and here you go. You will notice now we just have pushed it through for all the column from the top till the bottom, and we're going to validate it and see that there is others. So now we have just very few countries and others. So here you go. I am copy paste special so that we can't change anything. And here there are two columns therefore created with some differences, the primary key and the company location column. Go back to the summary. What does the data really look like? The range, central tendency, shape of the data. Okay. This is an interesting um, question. You may ask me before we go to that question that when you're looking at bean type and origin, why are we not doing this? And the reason why you're not doing this for bean type and origin is because those are fixed and they are related to the product of your choice. So sometimes you have to use your own knack to understand, should I do any dummy variable, derived variable or not? So when we go to the summary, what does the table look like? Range, central tendency, shape. Now, obviously, all of these can only happen for numeric values, right? So here I'll just put this as nil. Dummy variables, we did not do any dummy variables. Dummy variables are those 0, 1 variables. So we haven't done that. Derived variables, we have done, yes, we have done it. And what does the data really look like? This is all for the numeric variables. So let's again go here and see what we can do for the numeric variables. So again, what I'll do is I'm going to actually create a copy. Okay. And in this copy, I'm going to just look at the range of the data that are present. Okay. This company location, actually, at some point, we will drop it off because we don't need two columns with the same thing. So let's look at the reference number. There's no minimum, maximum. Review date, we can have some values around minimum, maximum, etc. So let's do it. I'm just putting the values that we're calculating over here. Let's see the minimum, the maximum, the average or mean, and let's see the median, which is the middle value. Okay. So again, the easiest way to do it is to go to formulas, insert function, and just type it over here. So I want the minimum. Okay. If I say go, it'll ask me where do I want to see the minimum, and I want to see it on my review date. So I will just pick it up from here. Okay. So here you go. Now there is one function in Excel which is of much use to anyone, which is being able to put a dollar sign and freeze the cells. Okay, so what does the dollar sign do? It will ensure that even when I drag the values around, this range of values cannot change. Okay, so let's see. Here I want to see the maximum. So here, I mean, either I can go and insert the max, or I can just go to min and just change it to max. So it is between 2006 and 2017. The average is the mean value. So I just either I can again go and pick it up and just change it here as average, or I can insert the value from a formula. And the median value also I can pick it up. I mean, here I'll insert it from formula and show you recent function. I go and pick up the median value. I can just recreate the range. Okay. So these are the values. The average and the median value don't make any sense for a date, but this is something which is important. This is telling us that the values in this range are all the surveys taken are between 2017 and 2006. Anyway, for the other values, we will need all of them. Here again, I can create a dollar sign to freeze the cell. And I take it here. Now here you will notice that all the values are actually percentages. So I can go to home, and over here instead of general, I can just use this. Okay, so there are the minimum amount of cocoa is 42%, maximum is 100%, and the average values and the middle values lie 72, 70 for the mean and the median respectively. Similarly, so what are you noticing? That I don't need to rewrite the formula, right? So in object-oriented programming, this is one of the easy things to do. We don't need to rewrite the formula. We can just copy paste it, and it will pick up for the list or the values that we are looking at. So here you go. Here it's taken up the percentage, which I want to now remove. So I'm just going to remove it from here and say number. So what are the ratings between 1 and 5, which we already know? The average rating is 3.19 and the median rating is 3.25. Now, the median and the average values, the mean values are pretty close to each other, and this shows that the shape is a bell shaped, a normal distribution. Okay, so as you go through the data analytics process, you'll realize that a lot of things that you studied in maths and statistics is what we are doing over here. And we are actually taking out inferences on the basis of this. Okay, great. So now let's go to the summary sheet, and we know now what the range, central tendency, and the shapes are looking like, pretty much bell shape. And we will do the last three parts, like the visualization, the analysis or analytics, which is really not required in this particular case study, and the insights and recommendations in the next video. So I'll see you there.